Athens Flying Week, Greece. First stop on a 4-week international tour for the Red Arrows, which marks the end of their 2017 display season. A support team of 45 engineers, along with 40 tons of equipment, has come out ahead of them. The Red Arrows arrive in typical style. Current team leader, call sign Red One, is David Montenegro. He's about to hang up his red flying suit after 3 years in charge. The new squadron leader will take over in just a few weeks.
I feel enormously grateful to have had the opportunity to lead this team. It's an awesome team to work on, so it's that dynamic, it's that part of the job that I'll really miss. There's no doubt I'll go through a grieving process at some point when I leave this team.
Thank you very much.
No worries, see you later. You coming in? I'll come down here. Cool, no problem, see you later.
One part of it for us is the display itself and actually doing the best display we can. But on the other hand, it's a case of inspiring the next generation, and we're all really proud to do that.
You going to watch our show later? Yeah. You going to see us fly? We hope we actually break down the stereotype and they don't all regard us as 9 robotic team pilots that are, completely morphed into each other, because we're not. We're a complete mix of personalities.
They've been signing autographs and meeting people for hours already, and that's before they do their show. It's really impressive.
Showtime's approaching. The Hawk jets, with a top speed of 620 miles an hour, are being prepared by an elite team of 10 engineers, known as Circus. Selected every year and assigned to one pilot for the whole season, each Circus engineer flies to displays in the back seat of a jet.
Every time the jets have been in the air, we have to do certain checks on the jets. So up in the cockpit, you just make sure all the switches are there, canopy's clean, windscreen's clean, making sure he's got oxygen inside his jet, because he needs that. So do I when I'm sitting in the back.
Circus engineers don't fly in the show itself, but carry out critical pre-flight safety checks. Known as the see-off, it's performed with choreographed precision. As the 9 display pilots taxi out, one pilot stays on the ground. Mike Ling, Red 10.
Well, thank you very much, and a very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
6 years ago, Lingy was one of the display pilots. Now, he gives the display commentary and monitors safety on the ground.
My favourite manoeuvre this year is the new Tornado manoeuvre we have, with Reds 1 to 5, 6 and 7 at the front in what we call 7 arrow, and then Reds 8 and 9 roll around them. It's a really visually appealing manoeuvre, so I'm glad we've got it in the routine.
Let's please have a big round of applause. Here they are. It's the Red Arrows. The jets have now collapsed to be around 2 meters away from each other as they form the shape of one big red arrow in the skies. Now we get ready for my favourite manoeuvre of this year's routine. Get your cameras ready. This is Tornado.
8, 9, roll.
Reds 8 and 9 with the blue and red smoke are now rolling around the other 7 aircraft.
The Reds performed the dramatic and technically demanding Tornado flawlessly.
To the right now, we have the 3 aircraft moving forward to form our trademark shape, the Diamond Quarter Clover.
This maneuver showcases the Reds' extreme precision, the 9 jets looping as one, just 6 feet apart. But halfway through, Lingy spots a problem. Red 5, and more seriously Red 7, have dropped far behind.
As I'm falling off the back of that manoeuvre, I'm just thinking, this crowd must... well, I don't know, what was I thinking? I can broadcast that. I just saw the other 8 aircraft going away from me. It was pretty embarrassing at the time, and it felt like an eternity of being away from the formation. Yeah, there were some swear words in cockpit. Unfortunately, that day the weather was quite warm, and because the air's less dense, the jet's got less performance, and the engine's obviously producing less thrust. Clearly, that was quite a high-profile mistake.
This eclat, this word here means excellence, so we're striving for that, and when it doesn't go exactly as we want it to go, then yeah, we'll debrief it and work out why, and then put it right for the next time.
Fortunately, the Reds are displaying twice at Athens, so tomorrow they've a chance to put things right.
Right, gents, welcome to Tanagra Day 2.
The Red Arrows are in Greece, at Athens Flying Week. They're preparing for their second display. Yesterday's was marred by a rare mistake.
I just saw the other 8 aircraft going away from me. The questions then get asked as to why that's happened, and then it's how do we not make that happen again.
There are improvements to be made, especially with temperature jet handling. Okay.
It's definitely a culture where if you front up your mistakes, then you can learn from them. For me, it was just a case of that experience of knowing what I need to do to make it not happen again. Subsequent to that, you'll just see I am sitting pretty much right underneath 6. So we did learn from that, and thankfully it didn't happen again. We then went on to some really hot locations in Kuwait, which is up in the high 40s. And we did the same manoeuvre a few times, and it actually helped us gain that experience and then make it not reoccur.
Mid-October, and the Reds are back home in Lincolnshire. Their 2017 season is almost over. The team now face a period of massive change, ahead of the momentous 2018 season, when they'll be leading the RAF's 100th anniversary celebrations.
The bane of our lives is timing. For example, when I call come in, left, now, just a fraction of a second, the tolerance is so small.
Most years, 3 of the 10 pilots are replaced. But this year, 4 new pilots are joining, including a new man at the top, a new team leader.
Just the finesse, please, as you get into the slots.
Martin Purty, is a former Red Arrow. He's spent the last 3 years flying Typhoon fighters, including operations over Syria.
Can we just talk about some of the high-profile flypasts and your sort of decision-making process, both before and on the day?
Becoming Red 1 is hugely a privileged moment of my career. I feel it's a really big ask for me to be Red 1 in the 100th anniversary of the Air Force, because not only have I got to get used to my trade, I'm doing it in such a public year when we really are on show and across the world.
It then looks massively all-consuming, and you'll just feel we're not going to crack it. That's a natural feeling to have. I think probably the biggest difference you'll notice coming from team member into leader is really when to be a part of the team and then when to separate from them.
Yeah, got it.
You'll get a feel for times when they need you around, and this is socially as well. How much do I offer them from old Monty to now team leader, Monty.
A conscious decision as well.
Yeah, and that is conscious.
Red 10, Lingy, is also leaving after a record-breaking 10 years with the team.
It'd be a sad time when I actually shut the door for the last time, I think, and move on. And people started to find out that it was my last year. And now I get lots of cards, a bottle of champagne that came from somewhere in Norwich, and then a mug that was made for me with Red 10. So it's really nice and really warming from a personal point of view. I've been really, really grateful for the support I've had, certainly this year as it's been coming towards my end of my time. I put this map up when we were planning last year's tour, and then I thought, well, why don't I just put a little red sticker about where I visited in a red jet. And you see, I've been all the way over to China. So in 2016, we went to China for a display. But in my first year, we went all the way to New York, and we displayed in New York Harbour. So in total, there are 46 red dots on that. So I've taken the red jet to 46 countries. And I've spent an awful lot of time away from home, and I've a 2-year-old daughter who, I'll be honest, I haven't really seen a lot of her growing up for the last 2 years. So I'm really looking forward to a relatively 9-to-5, Monday to Friday job where I can spend time with her and my other half.
Lingy and Monty share a special bond, born of a training accident in 2010.
The interesting part of any activity, it doesn't matter if it's flying, if you're driving, anything can carry a degradation of human performance, as Lingy and I experienced in Castelli in 2010.
12535.
Then they were the synchro pair, flying the 2 jets that performed dynamic close precision maneuvers. They were practicing the opposition barrel roll. In this maneuver, they flew head-to-head 100 feet above the ground, with a closing speed of 800 miles an hour. Then, they rolled their jets around one another. It required split-second timing.
Smoke off, yeah.
There's a slow-motion piece of my brain that can still see the start of the manoeuvre, the sudden realisation that this is not the normal picture I see, and I think we're going to collide here.
I'll never forget what the noise feels like, I think, when metal hits metal.
His tail fin hit my canopy probably about 18 inches above my head. Big bang, lots of glass in the cockpit, lots of noise, because of course you go from a very quiet cockpit then to over 300 miles an hour, and it was very noisy.
Ducking my head and closing my eyes and thinking, okay, that did not work out well and that could be it. It is, in essence, how it felt. Open my eyes, pretty much going straight down towards the ground, to then realise, oh, I'm here, this is fine. There's been better times. And then to understand what happened to, my opposition partner.
It was a very quick decision to pull the ejection seat handle, because I knew the last manoeuvre I'd made was to push lower towards the ground. I was only at 100 feet in the first place. We're doing over 300 miles an hour. I just pulled the handle. There was nothing keeping me back in that cockpit at that point. I was knocked out by the force of the ejection, so I then came to as I hit the ground, having been in my parachute. Looked over and I could see that my watch was a lot further away than it normally would be, probably by about 7 or 8 inches. So my initial thought was, my arm's come off. Not a very pleasant thought at the time. I then sat up, my arm came with me, so I then realised I could move my fingers, and then realised that actually it was the dislocated shoulder.
I remember talking out loud to myself in the cockpit, saying, you just have to land this plane. Put the jet down safely, all done on conditioned, kind of subconscious, really. Came to understand that I'd lost a bit of the rudder, and in fact the rudder fell off as soon as I landed. But the Hawk is an incredible aircraft, and he looked after me in that respect.
Not once after ejecting did I consider hanging up my flying boots and never doing it again. In fact, quite the opposite. I just wanted to get back in a cockpit as soon as I possibly could. Yeah, we're both incredibly fortunate. You don't often have a nearly 800-mile-an-hour collision and live to tell the tale.
We'll go through the main points of the debrief. The only standout.
As the new leader, Purty's top priority will be to keep his pilots safe.
Being responsible for the rest of the team pilots is probably the biggest weight on my shoulders. The guys in my wing, my team, are purely focused on formating on me. And that's where it befalls me as Red One to make sure that I'm in the right place, at the right time, at every stage of a Red Arrow's flight.
Are you going round onto a crowd front manoeuvre? Are you going to reverse back?
Red One always leads the formation, with the other 8 pilots concentrating on him and precisely following his manoeuvres.
45, come in, left, now as you get to the 60.
All of the team pilots will be formating on my aircraft, and they'll be flying their aircraft to a rhythm that I set, mainly by voice.
Practicing holding the bank now.
Voice commands are essential, because if the other pilots simply move once they see Red One moving, their reaction time will cause the formation to bend. So the leader uses rhythmic voice commands to warn them of everything he's about to do.
Happy? Happy? Yeah. Let's do a sortie out.
These voice commands are unique to Red One, so Monty has to teach Purty the tricky technique.
Happy in the back? Happy. It's rolling now. Power. Coming right now. Holding the bank. Now. Tightening. The additional wheel weight, very nice. You'll get used to the voice with it, but it's very nice.
When you say you're going to come left or come right or pull up,
Coming left. Now.
there's a rhythmic process that comes to it. We call it a metronomic cadence.
Coming left. Now.
The coming announces that we're about to do something, the left tells them which way we're going, and then on the N of now, they are going to need to make an input to their aircraft.
Holding the bank. Now. Tightening.
For the guys who are 150 feet away, they might have had to put that input before the N of now.
Is it rolling out, easing up? Yeah, rolling out, easing up. That's it. Rolling out, easing up. That'll do nicely.
Even for an elite pilot like Purty, perfectly timing the right words with the right manoeuvre isn't easy.
As soon as I had to start talking whilst I was flying, pretty much basic techniques started going out the window.
Holding the bank. Oh, this is embarrassing. Don't worry. I've been there. We've all been there. This is what none of the boys understand how hard it is. The boys haven't got a clue.
I've got 17 years experience of flying, but it's much more nerve-wracking than any sortie I think I've done in an aeroplane before.
Purty only has a few days to perfect his technique before he takes over from Monty for good.
It is quite nerve-wracking having someone who's done this for 3 years, this is their bread and butter. And after Monty's gone and I don't have that safety blanket anymore, it'll become even more real. It's going to be a matter of weeks before we've got the guys in the wing.
Loaded reversals. It's a really interesting time as a team leader now because you run this schizophrenic life that you want as much information as you can, especially from the previous team leader, yet you just want them to get out of the way so you can now develop your own style. He will always be positive, he'll always smile, but there'll be some mornings when he wakes up and thinks, oh, I'm just not cracking this tiny aspect of what I need to do, yet he has no one to communicate with on the squadron, and that's quite difficult.
Right, we're going to debrief, I think.
It's the last day of the Red Arrows 2017 season. It's a big day for Circus, the 10 engineers selected each year to fly in the back seats of the jets when they travel away from home.
You've got your own personal seat, you've got your own personal pilot. It's a little tight, I'm not going to lie, because I'm slightly bigger than some other people, but I'm still not that big, I can't fit in.
Today is Jay and the other engineers' last day as members of Circus. The 2018 team will soon be announced. As a reward, the leavers, for the first time, are being allowed to backseat in part of a display.
Hey up.
Hey up, Chuck.
Go on, pull a chair up.
Why do I get the crap seat? What's this one?
This last flight is actually quite special to all the Circus members. It's quite an honour for us to be told we can actually fly in the back seat in their display.
Scott Mackey, the team sergeant, leads the pre-flight brief.
Yes, this is the culmination of the whole season now. You've done all the hard work, you've had a lot of fun going away, but you've certainly put the hours in. This is our reward now, so it should be the best part of the year, hopefully.
It'll be your last flight with your pilot. Trying to get too
no
emotional.
crying, Jay.
But yeah, and certainly don't forget it's an opportunity that most people will never get in their life. So enjoy it. You've earned it, but stay safe.
Finish on a high. Thank you.
Leggies, gloves, helmet, sick bag.
Sorry, I'm right in the
I'm well excited. It's going to be good.
It's going to be awesome.
Because of the pilots they fly with, this is going to be a particularly thrilling flight for Scott.
Enjoy.
And Jordan Thorburn.
Quite lucky the position I'm in to be flying right at the back. Particularly the Tornado. I've been waiting all year for this manoeuvre, so it's finally here.
2 sick bags, just in case.
There won't be time for that.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
It's incredible how much trust they must have in each other to fly that close to them at those speeds.
I was shaking constantly through the entire flight. All that was coursing through my veins was pure adrenaline. Might have been a little bit of fear as well, because I still really don't like flying.
Now it's time for the manoeuvre that'll turn Jordan and Scott's worlds upside down. The Tornado.
Incredible, absolutely incredible. It's the one manoeuvre I was looking forward to, and it was like everything I wanted it to be.
The clouds are too low for the full formation to make any loops or rolls. But then leader Monty spots a gap.
To do an actual roll with all the jets in close formations, amazing. You feel yourself lifting out your seat for definite.
A dramatic return to the airfield ends this circus's stint flying shotgun in a Red Arrow.
That display is the best thing I've done in my life. I don't think I'll ever be able to compete to do anything like that ever again.
When we landed, I knew that was my last flight with Dan Lowe's, my pilot. It was bittersweet. It was definitely, like, that's the highlight of my career now. We're no longer circus and pilots anymore.
That was awesome.
No sick bags.
It was great. That was awesome, actually, to be able to do that and give them something back, having given us so much this season. Yeah, it's a real honour. Yeah.
There it is.
How's that? How's Tornado?
It's so different. Just the G I noticed was a bit more constant rather than the sharp break to land that we're used to. But otherwise, it was,
and what I said to Lissy, I'm so pleased about is we got the gap. I thought back airborne. You know, when we got airborne, I thought, this would just be flat. But once we got that gap and just got those 2 rolls in, it was, yeah. Come on, big man, bring it in.
Come on, then. Come on.
Hey, well done, mate.
Cheers.
Awesome.
Thanks again.
Been epic.
Smash it.
There we go.
Right, see you in a bit.
Before the new pilots step into their positions, there's a final flight for this year's pilots. A photo shoot to mark the handover. Hannah Smoker, the team photographer, will be flying photo chase with Lingy.
Yellow. All right? Feeling good?
Feeling good.
Perfect. Excellent. Well, today we're going to go and do your first display photo chase. What I'd quite like is a canopy-on shot of Spitfire. It's quite a fleeting shot you're going to get here, looking down through the left-hand side of the aircraft. And the idea there is not being too close, because you then...
You need all of it.
You need to be able to zoom out to get the...
It'll be Lingy's last flight after his record-breaking 10 years as a team pilot. Secret plans are being made to mark the occasion.
It's sort of, there should be some sort of jet water archway, and then we've got a chair, ducting, champagne and glasses.
There's a little bit in there that's sad. I think hanging up my red suit is going to be a big deal, without a doubt.
Lingy must fly close enough for Hannah to take the perfect shot. But avoid getting in the way or blocking escape paths the other pilots may take in an emergency.
There aren't many people that get the opportunity to see a Red Arrows display from that vantage point. So by far, from my flying perspective as Red 10, it's definitely the most challenging and the most enjoyable. It was really good for my partner and our daughter to be on the ground watching that final flight. They'd come up to watch it knowing it was going to be my last time flying a jet in a red flying suit. When I landed, I could see 2 fire engines positioned on the taxiway. And as we got towards them, the fire engine sprayed a guard of honour of water across my aircraft. It was very moving. Yeah, that is the end of what, for me, has been a very big chapter of my life.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Hello, Trouble. How are you doing? Thank you. There you go.
It's an RAF tradition for pilots to suffer a hazing after their last flight with the squadron.
Someone else want to go? Yep. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thanks, buddy. Thank you.
Each year, in honour of those leaving the Reds, and to mark the start of a new season, there's a formal dinner. It's held in College Hall at RAF Cranwell, where Air Force officers have been trained for nearly 100 years. Being a Red Arrow isn't all low-level loops and glamour.
You just grab the other box there and give me a hand, take it in the mess round as well.
The pilots themselves are the very hands-on event organisers. Mike Bowden is putting the finishing touches to the tables.
They're very personalised to the individual, so they're dedicated to the person who hosts the table. So that's Tom Bowles, so Red 6. So he's one of the levers, so it's plaqued and personalised to him. So yeah, it's a fantastic memento of the year.
I'm going to rush and get these finished because we haven't got long to get ready.
Dan Lowes and Matt Masters are in charge of the squadron albums.
These are essentially photo books of the history of the team. So I'll just show you this one now. I just got it in my hand. It's just every team that has gone through has taken pictures of what they've done throughout the year, places they've been, places they've displayed at. It's a bit of a family photo album. Having a bit of a laugh, really. Obviously, this one wasn't as funny because things may have happened during this display season. I think this was when they actually clipped a yacht. They got into the display area the mast was too tall. Here, Steve clipped the top of the mast with his wing. It actually destroyed part of his wing. And there's some dramatic pictures here of the aircraft going to sea, and you can just see him leaving the aircraft there before it hits the sea. Just by Brighton Pier there, you can see him landing in the water in his parachute. That was the same day. He's got some burns on his face from the actual ejection itself, but as I say, that kind of family thing is like, hey Steve, do you see that yacht with a big mast, question mark? So you can see that was a bit of banter just to get people through everything. It's really good to look. It's really good to see. Look at that. We're water skiing behind the style that these guys had in the 80s. I mean, look at that. It's a good-looking bunch.
At 7 p.m, the guests arrive, welcomed by the Reds, who swap their flying suits for something a little smarter. In his very final role as Red One, Monty's hosting the boss of the entire Royal Air Force, Air Chief Marshal Sir Stephen Hillier.
It's a really defining point in the year. The guys are still calling me boss. They have 3 hours, and at midnight, that is it. It's like Cinderella going to the ball in that 1 a.m, I am definitely not their boss anymore. Purty will be the boss, no matter what, but it draws a good line in the sand. So, one big speech to do, which I've done a lot of public dinner speaking, and it's quite apt that my last speech, I'm sat between the Chief of the Air Staff and Ranulph Fiennes. As ever, I'm absolutely bricking it.
Guests include retired Reds and people who've helped the team over the last season. Lingy's replacement, Adam Cos Collins, gets his first taste of the glamorous side of the job, hosting Carol Vorderman. The handover to the new leader begins with a speech from the head of the RAF.
The Red Arrows will be absolutely the pinnacle of our activities during the RAF 100 celebrations, and it's a fantastic opportunity, and I'm sure that the new leader is going to be absolutely at the centre of that, so no pressure there, Bertie. The Red Arrows mean a huge amount to me. They mean a lot to the nation overall. So I'm proud, and I know the nation is proud of what you do as well. So thank you very much indeed.
By tradition, the actual handover takes place at midnight, in the bar.
I guess I might have a beer actually, yeah. Do you want a beer? I'm alright with this. Right, I can have a lager, please. Thank you.
Lingy passes the Red 10 roll to Cos.
Happy times.
Yeah. That's it. Well done. Mate, thank you. You are going to have the best time. Really, really enjoy it. And
excited.
I'll be ready to listen to you at the air shows as they come up. But mate, all the best. You're going to have a wicked time.
No pressure. Thanks for a great handover. Yeah, can't wait.
Excellent.
And the leadership of the Red Arrows is handed over to Purty.
All the best. Thanks. I do wish you all the best. You're going to have an amazing centenary year.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Appreciate it though.
So it's number 23. Yeah, good luck, mate. All the best.
Appreciate it.
A new era for the Red Arrows begins. It's the first day of training for the Red Arrows' historic 2018 season. The pilots are back in green flying suits. They only fly in the famous red suits once their new display has been approved after 6 months of intense training.
We don't have air traffic, we are 2-2, they're currently green.
For the first time, Purty is in the hot seat as Red One.
Around the room then, please, Chloe.
And 2 new display pilots, John Bond and David Stark, have joined the team. Both are hugely experienced RAF fighter pilots. Bondi last flying state-of-the-art Typhoon fighters.
It's a completely different flying discipline to what we've been doing. I haven't done a lot of formation in the last 4 years, and the formation that I've done has been on a very modern and advanced jet, so the handling characteristics are a lot different.
You find yourself getting excited one moment, and then it dawns on you the realisation that it's not going to be as simple as it might appear to some people. So you have moments of trepidation as well, I think. So it's probably a healthy mix of excitement and trepidation.
For the past 2 months, Bondi and Starkey have been flying backseat to experience what's in store for them. Now they'll take the controls themselves.
Yeah, I think one of the big differences is how public this is going to be. You know, this time next summer it could be 50,000 people, many of whom will be knowledgeable and they'll be able to spot our errors.
First though, they're issued their official Red Arrow mugs.
It's a bit of a tradition and a rite of passage to have your own mug, let alone a Red Arrows one, so it's pretty cool. It's quite nice to have it in this traditional shape of the Red Arrows.
Today, the new pilot's 6 months of training begins. They'll attempt ultra-close formation aerobatics for the first time.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. The moment you've been waiting for, slot 1. This is it. This marks the first part of your career for the next 3 years. Weather-wise, we're looking at slightly improved conditions. We've waited around all day for it to pick up now.
I'm now in the Red Arrows. I'm going to do my first training flight with Red 1 and start putting smoke out the back of a Red jet. So this sort is going to be huge for me. It's as if my career has been building up to this point.
Don't overdo it. Don't bite off too much. Fly it by eye, but just get used to what that flying by eye versus my cadence is, okay? Pre-brief yourself, coming left now, holding the bank now.
Pretty terrified actually. The first time flying a Red Arrows jet in formation, not really knowing whether you can do it and know how you'd cope with it physically and mentally.
30 minutes is what I've touted us for. Coming. Minute 1-5.
Purdy starts with gentle turns.
Reversing right now.
He won't attempt any aerobatics unless the new pilots prove they can hold a solid, safe position just 8 feet away.
Coming left now. Holding the bank now.
Even this requires incredible skill and concentration. A job made even harder under turbulent low cloud.
You're almost not thinking about it, you're just trying to blank out everything around you, blank out the horizon, try and blank out the sun if you can, just focusing on that aeroplane that you're following and what your hands, feet and throttle are doing at the same time. Easier said than done.
Letting it out, rolling out.
The new recruits do so well, Purdy decides they're ready for something more challenging.
Down for a loop.
When he said down for a loop, it was all a bit of a blur. I think my whole body tensed up.
Definitely raised the hairs on the back of my neck a bit. I probably switched on a little bit more than I had done previously, if that was possible.
Smoke on, go.
The first call of smoke on and trying to find the button to get the right smoke was probably the most challenging bit.
And pulling up.
And then actually going up for a loop, putting the smoke on. That was just a thrill.
It was brilliant, absolutely brilliant, and to loop a Red Arrow for the first time was a milestone for me.
Smoke off, go. Good effort. Wonderful.
A wonderful experience, to be honest. We've been waiting a long time to do this, so it was great.
We expected to do some wing-overs and some turns under G, but when the boss called down for the loop, the dread came over us, the fear. Yeah, it's like first day at school again. Like, it was excitement and nerves all in one, because it's a completely new skill that we're going to have to try and learn. So I guess it's sort of natural to want to be really good at it straight away, and then you find out you're not. And but no, I feel really good, buzzing. It was awesome, and the hard work begins now.
The weather did open up beautifully, and if we can't go upside down on day one of being a Red Arrow, then surely must be the wrong job, right? That's about it. Training done. We are ready for 2018.
I wish. Yeah.
Next time, in his first tense weeks in command, Purty must battle the weather.
Trying to formate in that kind of turbulence is just adding to their complications.
Every pilot has to learn challenging new manoeuvres, pushing them to the limit.
It's just excitement, it's adrenaline, ground rush, speed rush. It's awesome.
As the Red Arrows prepare for their biggest year ever.